Welcome. My name is Matt Pierce. I'm a journalist based in South Texas. If you're listening to this, I want to thank you for taking this journey with me into a world that's both familiar and strange. A world that echoes with stories of those who came before us. Stories etched into the soil beneath our feet, written into the rocks, and whispered by the rivers. It's still carried on the winds of this vast, untamed land that we call Texas. I've lived here most of my life, surrounded by its history, its mysteries, and its legends. My family's roots dig deep into this soil, stretching all the way back to the 1820s. Like so many others, they came here as immigrants, seeking new opportunities and a new life. They were from Ireland and Wales, driven by hope and perhaps a little desperation to forge a future in a place that could hardly be imagined. But this place, Texas, it was never empty. You see, long before my ancestors, long before the first Europeans, long before the Spaniards, or even the Comanche, this land, it was alive. It was alive with people whose names we'll never know. People who hunted, who gathered, who loved, who fought, who dreamed. That's what this is about. The lives and the times of the people who lived here, long before the modern world. It's about diving deep into the hidden layers of the Texas past, uncovering the stories of its first people, the Paleo Indians, the archaic tribes, the farmers, the builders, and everyone in between. These were people just like you and me, living in a world vastly different from ours. And yet, if we listen closely enough, their world still speaks to us. I'm sitting here in the studio, looking out over the South Texas landscape, just southwest of San Antonio. It's early autumn and the heat of the summer has finally begun to break. The air is cooler now, crisp in the mornings, and the horizon is tinged with golden hues of late afternoon light. I see rolling hills stretching out into the distance, dotted scrub brush, mesquite trees, and the occasional oak. The sky is vast, endless with just a few scattered clouds drifting lazily by. It's peaceful. But I can't help but notice how the landscape is changing. On the edge of my view, the signs of industrialization are everywhere. Oil rigs punch holes into the earth, their steel arms rising and falling like mechanical creatures, feeding onto the ground beneath them. Highways cut through the landscape like scars, lined with trucks and cars, speeding to destinations unknown. The horizon, once interrupted, is now dotted with cell phone towers and power lines and wind turbines, symbols of modern world, a world that has built itself on the bones of the old one. As I sit here, I find myself wondering, what would the Paleos think? Those first people who roamed this land over 10,000 years ago. What would they think if they saw this today? Did they ever imagine that one day, great steel beasts would roam the land that they once hunted? Did they fear something like this? Could they have even conceived a world where the vast open plains that they one day would be crisscrossed with highways, and their hunting grounds would be overtaken by sprawling cities? Imagine standing here in this very spot where I am now, all but 1,000 years ago. The air would feel different, crisper, cleaner, untouched by the exhaust fumes of millions of vehicles. The landscape would have stretched out before you, wild and untamed, with no fences to break the horizon. Herds of bison and mammoths roam these lands, and the rivers ran clear and strong. The sun would rise and set over a world that felt both vast and intimate, shaped by the rhythms of nature and the seasons. These early peoples, also known as the Paleo-Indians, were hunter-gatherers. They moved across the land following the great herds, living off the bounty of the earth. Their tools were simple but effective: stone-tipped spears, knives made of flint, scrapers to clean the hides. They knew how to work the land, but they did not try to tame it. Instead, they lived in harmony with it. Their lives dictated by the ebbs and flows of nature. But who were they really? What did they believe? What did they dream about when they stared up at the same stars that we still see somewhat today? Did they have legends about the animals they hunted? Did they tell stories around the fire? Stories about their ancestors or the spirits that they believed watched out over them? This podcast is my journey to uncover these stories, to bring them back to life, even if only for a fleeting moment. We'll travel through time together across thousands of years, from the ancient Paleo-Indians to the rise of complex societies, the Spanish conquest, and the modern state of Texas. We'll explore their cultures, their beliefs, their struggles, and their triumphs. And as we do, I hope to offer a glimpse into what made them unique and how their stories continue to shape the land that we live on today. I want this to be more than just a history lesson. I want it to be an experience. I want you to feel the heat of the Texas sun on your back, to hear the crunch of gravel under your feet as you walk the same trails that the ancient people once walked. I want you to smell the cedar and the mesquite in the air, to see the landscape as they saw it, and to wonder, just as I wonder, what they would make of the world that we've built on top of theirs. This is a multi-part series. It's designed for you to enjoy at your own pace. You can listen as you go about your day, or you can find a quiet place and really let yourself sink into the past. I encourage you to engage with the material. Think about the stories you hear and imagine what life was like for those who lived in this place long before we did. After all, we're all connected by the land beneath us, by the history that surrounds us, even if we don't always see it. So I invite you to join me on this journey. Whether you're a native or someone who's never set foot here, there's something here for you, stories that once deeply local and profound and universal. Together we'll dig into the past, uncover the layers of history, one story at a time, and who knows what we'll find. Be sure to follow along as we embark on this exploration of this deep history. I can't wait to share these stories with you and bring them to life.